Moment here. YouTube is up. And Facebook is up. Everybody, please check in. Please check in. Hit one if you can hear me. Oh, that's a little crooked. Straighten that out. Got YouTube's wings level. Okay. Hi, I'm Bill with STEMwithKino.com. And this is the United States Army SIFT, which is the standard instrument for flight training weekly. Everybody new to the channel, if you come to this channel every Saturday at 1400 Eastern or 2 p.m. Eastern, we cover and we answer test questions pertaining to the United States Army Standard Instrument for Flight Training. This is the test that you are going to need to take if you're going to go into United States Army helicopter aviation. So I'm Kino, STEM with Kino. STEM stands for Science, Technology, Engineering, and Math. And, so I'm the guy you need to be in contact with if you are preparing for this test and you're having issues. The best way that you get the most out of this live stream is if you get your book and you go through it and you run into questions that you can't answer. Well, we are here to answer the questions that you can't answer when you go through your book. We do this live normally every week. Last week I had some personal things to take care of, so from time to time you may not catch us every Saturday, especially now it's getting warm and things are getting a little bit looser as far as our country's status, as far as being able to move around and get out. So every now and then I do have to get out of the dungeon. You would. All right. So today I am going to go into. I have nothing historical for you guys today, but what I do have are some questions that you could possibly run into on the standard instrument for flight training, and we'll go into this. Let's see. Give me a moment, folks. All right. All right. So we are going to go into some questions here. Now, if you're following me on Facebook, you can see the questions that we are dealing with, and you can see the multiple choice answers. So without further ado, we will go in. All right. Now with fixed wing, we have talked about ground effect, and ground effect also happens with rotary wing aircraft. You have to think of, well, we've talked about airfoils. So if you've been watching me on other channels, we talked about airfoils. Your main rotor is nothing but an airfoil. An airfoil is a device that's used to produce lift. So let's go to the board and talk about ground effect. Ground effect is a phenomenon that occurs when you are less than one wingspan from the surface of the earth. Okay, so we have our helicopter here, and we just say it is an A. I don't know if this thing can spin or not. So this thing's in a hover. When it gets within one wingspan of the ground effect takes place. Now, what you need to know about ground effect is it's the Earth's interference with the airflow patterns about the rotor, around the rotor. As this rotor is spinning, the airflow on the top moves towards the mast, and the airflow on the bottom moves away from the mast. So as a result, what happens is, you got inward flow and you got outward flow on the bottom because of the high pressure on the top and the low pressure on the bottom of the main rotor. So um, it's okay as long as we're within the span of the rotor or the rotor disc. When we get to the outside, where the high pressure and where the low pressure and the high pressure meet, that's where we would produce, and this represents our rotor, a vortex singular or vortices plural, and basically we get a reduced upwash downwash effect because the ground is in the way. Now, if this was up at like 2,000 feet or 1,000 feet or so, then we would have that room for the air to fully circulate. But since we come within one rotor span of the ground, it interferes with that induced flow, and it diminishes. Actually, we lose some induced lift. That is drag. Sorry. So there's two types of drag: parasite drag and induced drag. Induced drag is a byproduct of the production of lift. So just because when we're creating lift, just creating lift is going to cause induced drag. It has nothing to do with parasite drag. Parasite drag has to do with just putting things out in the slipstream and where the certain parts of the helicopter join each other and stuff like that. So, boom, ground effect. So let's talk about some questions, and I will read them aloud to my people on YouTube. And if you're following me on Facebook, you can see them. You can actually see them and the multiple choice questions. Okay, so the first one is being dropped. John, I see you, my brother. I see you. I see you. There we go. There we go. Boom, give me a moment. I'm almost there. And we'll go ahead and post. Not where I wanted to go. Back up. There we go. Okay, the first question is posting. And in the meantime, if you guys have questions, feel free to type them in the chat. You know, whatever questions you want to know about related to the SIFT, or you can actually send questions to kienothhomas@gmail.com. Okay, so here's our question. Ground effect is most likely to result in which problem? A. Settling to the surface abruptly during landing. B. Becoming airborne before reaching recommended takeoff speed. Or C. The inability to get airborne even though airspeed is sufficient for normal takeoff needs. You know what? Little group participation. What do you guys think ground effect is? Settling to the surface abruptly during landing, becoming airborne before reaching recommended takeoff speed, or the inability to get airborne, even though airspeed is sufficient for normal takeoff needs. What do you guys think? Dylan, I see you, brother. Ours, I see you. Quentin, thanks for checking in. I see you. Welcome to the channel because I don't remember seeing your name. I may have, but okay. We got Bravo. We got Charlie coming in. Another Bravo. The answer is Bravo. Becoming airborne before reaching recommended takeoff speed. You have to remember, I like to think of it as a normal amount of lift or the usual amount of lift. And while we're in ground effect, the induced drag has been reduced while we're in wingspan. So A is wrong because settling to the surface abruptly before landing, no. That would not happen. Actually, if ground effect is in effect, you will actually have there'll be like a cushion of air. Air will feel like a cushion of air because you have the same lift and you have reduced induced drag. So alpha is not good. C, the inability to get airborne even though airspeed is sufficient for takeoff needs. Like, why would that even happen? That doesn't even make sense. So Bravo is the correct answer. And I appreciate you guys for your participation. I was about to say precipitation. Weather, that'll be another video. All right, dropping another question. And like I said, for my YouTubers, if you're not following me on Facebook, you will not see the questions or the multiple choice answers. Beautiful day today. Okay, next question is coming in. What do we have here? What is ground effect? A, the result of the interference of the surface of the Earth with the airflow patterns about an airplane, or just think aircraft. B, the result of an alteration in airflow patterns increasing induced drag about the wings of an airplane. Or C, the result of the disruption of airflow patterns about the wings of an airplane to the point where the wings will no longer support the airplane in flight. That doesn't even sound right. Okay, so what would you guys pick? Alpha, Bravo, or Charlie? Alpha is the result of the interference of the surface of the Earth with the airflow patterns about the airplane. B, the result of an alteration in airflow patterns. People are kicking out A already of the wings of an airplane. And C, the result of the disruption of airflow patterns about the wings of an airplane to the point where the wings will no longer support the airplane in flight. Okay, so if you guys chose Alpha or selection A, you guys would be right. And if you didn't get it right, don't worry. This is where we make our mistakes. We don't make them on the test. We make them here, or you make them with your tutor when you're doing your one-on-one tutoring. And hopefully you have a tutor. If you don't, you guys know how to reach me. All right, moving right along. So those are a couple ground effect questions that wow. Okay. Here's another just a random question. Not necessarily related to ground effect. All right. We are posting. Shout out to Joe. Joe beat the aviation selection test battery this week. A couple days ago he took it. And, that's another win for the family. The win. Okay. Question is coming, and I'm about to read. Okay, so what should be the first action after starting an aircraft engine? Okay. A, adjust for proper RPM and check for desired indications on the engine gauges. B, place the magneto or ignition switch. Momentarily in the off position to check for proper grounding. No, you would never do that. C, test each brake and the parking brake. Okay, people are firing off A now. Ours is coming in with A. You would adjust for proper RPM and check for desired indication on the engine gauges. That is the answer, Alpha. So I just wanted to make sure you guys got a takeaway from this. So you fire up the engines, you're immediately going to be looking at the engine gauges. Okay, you want proper readings. You want your pressures and your temperatures. And sometimes in the winter time, it might take a while for your oil pressure to come up. So, don't, if it's still leaning towards zero, don't be like, oh my God, we got no oil pressure. Because an annunciator panel would come on if there was something really wrong at that point. So sometimes you got to let the oil kind of run through the system and warm up, and then it'll start building its pressure up and stuff like that, and the temperature will come up. So not so much pressure, but temperature, really. Really, you will see pressure, but you won't see temperature. Temperature will be like kind of zeroed out, and you'll be like, oh, well, you guys are watching the camera, so okay. The vac will be low unless you set a higher than ideal throttle. Yeah, so vacuum, what he's talking about is a vacuum pressure. A lot of aircraft, for redundancy, they don't have like an electrical, they may have a backup electrical, but the primary vacuum system for the vacuum powered instruments. Who knows the vacuum powered instruments? I would say show of hands, but nobody's in this room. So name a vacuum powered instrument. Just one. I don't care, Facebook or YouTube. Yeah, Facebook and YouTube. Facebook. Somebody. Jonathan. Who knows a vacuum or ours? Since you asked the question, what is a vacuum powered instrument, brother? All right, too late, too late, too late. The attitude indicator or the heading indicator. Okay, simulated horizon and six pack. I'll take that. So you have basic six flight instruments, and I'm closing my eyes because I'm thinking about them. Airspeed indicator, attitude indicator, altimeter, turn coordinator or turn slip indicator, and heading indicator, and then the vertical speed indicator. So the attitude indicator and the heading indicator are both vacuum powered. So they're connected to the engine driven vacuum. And what is the question? I know I had a question. All right, so yeah, we talked about that. All right. So those are proper indications. Now, in Army flight training, you'll probably go through some type of initial flight screening where they'll put you in a small helicopter that's probably not turbine powered, maybe. But what you train on, those will be all turbine powered. All right. And so, why would they use reciprocating engine helicopters? For what? Save money. Okay. A turbine powered helicopter is more expensive to operate than a piston. And correct me if I'm wrong, guys. I could be wrong, but I don't believe I'm wrong. Anytime you get jet engines in the mix, that is just more maintenance costs, more preventative maintenance and stuff. So, I'm dropping the question now. Bang. Oh, excuse me, guys. Rough morning. Not really rough, just doing stuff. Busy work. Okay. What should be the first action? No, that shouldn't be it, guys. What you guys doing? All right. It is what is the purpose, and I am gonna still post it. But what is the purpose for using reciprocating engines? Why would we use them? And it's probably going to have to do with cost, more than likely, but we'll read the questions in a minute after I post. Oh, yeah, that's crazy. They say when you're young, your brain needs oxygen. My brain needs oxygen, folks. That's why I'm young. Not bored. Okay. I don't think. All right, post. Okay. I don't see it on my end, and that's why I'm kind of going after this. But this may have displayed twice. But I'm going to read the question anyway, and I'm going to answer the question. Sorry. What is one purpose for using reciprocating engines? A. Heat is distributed better. B. To preserve cylinder head duration and maintain lower temperatures. C. They're relatively simple and inexpensive to operate. So that's what I was talking about when you go from piston power to turbine power. It's gonna be some other stuff in the mix. It's just gonna be more stuff. I believe it will be more stuff. Jonathan, Ars, I see you. Dylan, I see you as well on the Facebook SIFT. All right. Now, we're still talking about reciprocating engines, and whether you're rotary wing or fixed wing and you're using a piston, you're going to have two magnetos, which is a self-contained source of electrical energy. So even if the aircraft uses total electrical power, the engine's still going to continue to run. So I think of magnetos like spark plugs. So you got two pretty much in a cylinder, and even if you lose electrical power, they're still going to provide the spark that is needed in the combustion chamber to keep that piston moving or the crankshaft cranking. So there's a keyed position when you're turning the key. All right, it should be on, left, right, and both. All right, so you have your key position, and just like your car, you put the key in. This will be the off position, and then you have a left, and then you have a right, and then you have a both. All right. So this is for redundancy. So if one of the magnetos or spark plugs go bad, then it'll still be business as usual. The aircraft annunciator panel and the aircraft will let you know that it failed, and that's when you know you need to get it back down on the ground or to a maintenance or repair shop as soon as practical. They don't say as soon as possible in the FAA. They say as soon as practical. That's where I even learned that phase, years ago. As soon as practical. So it's not like a life and death emergency if you do lose a magneto. If you're just operating on one instead of your normal two magnetos, then you need to be making your way back RTB, returning to base, or to whatever airfield that your rotary wing aircraft came from. So we did identify that a magneto is a self-contained source of energy. And when checking a magneto for operation, the engine should run smoothly when operating the magneto on both. Now, when you go from both, because this is where you go, so this will probably be a start tick mark, start, boom, and then you let it go, and then the key goes back to both. If you go to left or right, you will get a slight drop in RPM, and that is to check the RPM because the two readings shouldn't be X amount of click marks from each other, and your pilot operating handbook will give you the rundown on that. Okay, well, how far should these mags be apart as far as the readings are concerned? Because something may need to be replaced. So that's all I have to say about magnetos and ignition systems. Make sure you guys are going to your FAA Pilot Handbook of Aeronautical Knowledge and your Rotary Wing Handbook because there's a lot of good information in there. I'm not going to go into it. We talked a little about carbureted air, carburetor ice. I didn't get much sleep last night, guys. That's why I'm yawning like crazy now. My body's like, come on, Kino. You want to lay down. We talked about aviation fuel. Let's kick this up, man. We talked about detonation and pre-ignition. I think we closed on that yesterday, detonation and pre-ignition. Okay. Oil. We did talk about oil, and I'll give the little spiel on oil. Engine temperatures. Engine lubricating oil not only prevents metal-to-metal direct contact with moving parts, it also absorbs and dissipates some energy produced by the heat. Produced by the engine, not produced by the heat. Sorry, guys. So if the engine oil temperature and cylinder head temperature gauges have exceeded the normal operating range, or if the pilot suspects that the engine is, yes, you would call it this time. Sorry about that, ladies and gentlemen. All right. So the cylinder head temps are exceeding their temperatures, they're outside of their normal operating range. One thing you will learn about aviation is there are green arcs. What do I mean by green arcs? So if this was a particular gauge, you'd have a green arc right here so that when your needle's in that green arc, it's like everything is good. Yellow is caution, red is bad. All right. So you can Google some gauges and you can just see how some of them are placarded, which means it's like a notice. All right. It's like, hey, pilot, look at me. I'm in the red. Now, if your cylinder head temperatures were exceeding their normal operating range, there's another thing. You could suspect with a fixed pitch propeller that detonating has occurred, or you're using a lower fuel grade, or something is wrong. So there's probably, if it's not any of those other things, it's probably like a low oil issue, and this is why we have to check the oil in our pre-flights. We have to be very diligent about that, because the last place you want to have engine trouble is in the air. It is not fun. I told you guys a story about me in DCA airport outside of Washington, and how I had an engine situation. But use the oil. Use the proper oil marker. Make sure that you pull it out just like your car. Take a piece of paper, clean it, then redip it, because the engine might have been running and oil may still be settling. So you want a true reading. And in pre-flight, your instructors will show you how to properly do it. All right, but you always want to make sure that there's oil. No oil or low oil is not cool. We talked about propellers. We said we were going to talk about torque, but I think that was torque as it applies to single engine aircraft. So today is SIFT day. I'm not going to talk about that. We talked about pre-flight inspection procedures as well. I'm going to throw a couple of questions up on a Facebook page concerning pre-flight inspection. You must do a pre-flight. I talked about this yesterday, but you must do a pre-flight. Even on days when you don't feel like it, or at least a walk-around inspection. So in the morning, you may have done a full-blown pre-flight, and then during the day, you're just doing checkups. Oh, okay, wings there, landing gear still good. Okay, this bird's running good. Why did I do that, guys? That's what I'm going to do. So I'm putting up a couple of just bear with me, folks. We'll get this off. Again, you guys can send email questions. You can email questions. Facebook. Okay, so these two questions are posting, and they are preparing. They are pertaining to pre-flight. You have to do a walk-around inspection. Have to have it. Have to have it done. And then during the day, you can do little, quick walk-around inspections, because you saw the airplane. You looked in the cowling. You made sure there were no birds' nests in there. You made sure the fuel was full. And you may need to update fuel. So that's another cool thing. When the fuel guy's pumping fuel into your plane, you could be doing an additional pre-flight. All right. I would recommend a couple times a day. Even when I was a full-time flight instructor, when I'll be like maybe 10 to 7 times a week, I'm up in the air and then back down on the ground. So, the first thing, that's just something in the first, 5-6 hours, I probably wouldn't even let my student do. I'd probably be doing all the pre-flights. Hey, don't touch that oil. because I want to make sure that the oil is secured. And what you will know or notice if you are in flight training, every now and then the instructor will come out, pop the collar, he'll look around the airplane, and he'll tighten the oil dipstick up. So, you're going to watch everything your instructor does, and you're going to do things like your instructor, exactly like your instructor, because that's the way you're going to solo. You have to do things like him or her. There's female flight instructors. I'm kind of wiped out, though, guys. I didn't sleep well last night, and I might even chop this off, like maybe 15 minutes or so. Because I don't like doing all this yawning on the video, but I just had a rough night. All right. YouTube looks good. And we have those questions posted, and we'll go into our next topic. It's probably heat. I'm going to just turn this thing on low. And guys, can you hear me? And Facebook and YouTube land, can you hear me? Because I have the my little window AC pumping, and if I need to project my voice, I will. I have no problem with that. I'm an awesome public speaker, and I don't mind raising my voice if I need to. Just getting a little warm here. All right. So the pilot in command must walk around and. Okay, we're going to talk a little bit about. We're going to move into helicopter systems, guys. That's what you're all here for, right? Helicopter systems, and you guys are going to. You guys are going to answer these questions, or somebody in the group on each side is going to answer the questions. All right. So. Good. Yawn. You guys aren't boring. It's just me. Okay, so got some good SIFT information here, ladies and gentlemen. Okay, it's coming, guys. All our YouTubers, I will verbally discuss this question, or talk through it as we go along. I don't know what's up with the, I shouldn't have to cut and paste twice. That's what I'm doing, guys. So that's what's really taking so long. Normally I have them out, boom, on the page by now. It's the man working against us. So you guys don't learn aviation. That's a joke. Okay, the lift differential that exists between the advancing main rotor blade and retreating motor blade is known as what? A, transverse flow effect, B, dissymetry of lift, or C, hunting tendency. That is crazy. The rotor has a tendency to hunt, doesn't it? It hunts the other one. They just are on the same plane and they don't touch each other. The lift differential that exists between the advancing main rotor blade and the retreating main rotor blade is known as what? What do you guys got? Come on, somebody answer. What do you guys know? Where's my subgroup? Especially John. Where's John at? And I don't know what B that is for. So hit 1, 2, or 3, not A, B, or C. All right, John. What's the answer to that question, son? You should have been ripping through it. The symmetry of lift is the correct answer. Very good, very good, very good. All right. Okay, no problem. No problem, John. Okay, next question is being dropped on Facebook. During a hover, a helicopter tends to drift to the right. To compensate for this, some helicopters have the A. Tail rotor tilted to the left, B. Tail rotor tilted to the right, or C. Rotor mast rigged to the left side. So where it's like kind of canted a little bit. Answers, guys. What would you think? During a hover, a helicopter tends to drift to the right. To compensate for this, some helicopters have the A. Tail rotor tilted left, B. Tail rotor tilted right, or C. Rotor mast rigged to the left side. What do you guys think it is? And Facebook, and I mean YouTubers, don't forget to hit that like button, please. Licking chicken. I don't know what that means, but okay, Devontae. I hope I spelled your name correctly. Who's got the answer? Okay, so the helicopter's in a hover, right? And it's going to drift to its right. To its right. To compensate for this, they may have this rotor mast under here tilted to the left side to compensate, because the tail rotor is going to be messing with the torque produced by the engine and the anti-torque pedals. And they're going to balance out, and the helicopter's going to. It's very, very easy, but you have to notice it. And so what they may do is they'll take this mast and then tilt it. So instead of the plane of rotation being like this, it'll be like this, and always seeking to kind of get the helicopter over to counteract the left turning tendencies. All right, guys. Translational lift. Not what I wanted to do. Give me a moment, folks. These are taking a little bit, but I am trying to get you guys the most awesome information you can get. All right. Really? Well, I was about to say. Okay. So it's coming, folks. I don't like all this dead air. And when it just does not. Okay. We talked about that. We talked about that. All right. Let me check for questions. Answer all these before. Gotta come up with some new stuff, guys, so I can answer. If you don't see it, it's probably in a previous video. Yeah. So yeah. Are there any questions? I'm probably just gonna cut this a little bit short. I tried to yawn off camera, but I'm yawning too much. I didn't get much sleep last night, but if you guys, and Zachary, good to see you. Get your book. Get your SIFT test prep book. Bring questions. Devontae, same. Oh, licking chickens means loud and clear. Licking chickens loud and clear. I always remember loud and clear. But yeah, if you guys don't have any immediate questions, we probably got like 10 more minutes left in the stream. And most of the emails that I'm getting are questions that you can find answers to in the live stream. So yeah, guys, I saw some new people. Zachary Hutchinson. DM me, Zachary. Tell me how you found me in this channel and all this and everything. Okay. Okay, Gyroscopic Precession. Very good. All right. That was in a video last week, literally. But since you're a newcomer, you didn't know. I'm going to adjust it. All right. Give me a second. Okay, Gyroscopic precession is the resultant action of a spinning object when force is applied to the object. The action occurs approximately 90 degrees later in the direction of rotation. So let's just say a spinning top is like the best thing for this. If we spun a top, let's say we spun it, well, I would spin it right. All right, so we're going in this direction. All right. So if I pushed here, the resultant action would be here. So if I apply the force here, the resultant action would be 90 degrees down the road, I would say. 90 degrees later in the direction of rotation. So it'd be rotating that way, and I apply force here, and then the top should, if I'm looking at this top from the top. So that's what gyroscopic precession is. It is the resultant action of a spinning object when a force is applied to the object, and the action occurs approximately 90 degrees later in the direction of rotation. Thus, if the maximum increase of angle of attack is at point C, okay, they go into a little airplane thing. So yeah, all the newcomers, yeah, DM me, okay, Devontae, Fort Bragg. Zachary, I don't remember seeing you before. Forgive me if you have been here. But yeah, Dylan. And anybody scheduled tomorrow that's covering this stream, be advised there are going to be some changes tomorrow. I've had some unexpected things come up and that I need to address. And so we're going to have to probably do a little bit of shifting in the schedule. Either like, I don't know, later on tomorrow or, another day during the week and stuff. All right. And Zachary, did I answer your question, sir? There's actually, if you go in our feed, you'll actually see images and everything and definition. You should see the definition for ground effect. So that's why the channel is so good, because, it's a whole page, just aviation stuff. Oh, he's talking about ground effect. Oh, he's talking about the symmetry of lift. Oh, he's talking about, translating tendency or effective translational lift. New to the live, seen a lot of videos. Well, thank you. I hope you subscribe to me if you've seen all those videos. Yeah, 8 minutes. We're gonna pull a plug. I just didn't get really, really good rest last night, and awesome. Thank you. All right, Zachary. I'm glad you liked it. But yeah, Zachary, Devontae, DM me. Let me know, why you guys are here and what you guys are looking for, and if there's any video suggestions that I could do on the YouTube side of things. Quentin, good to see you. Ours, as usual, and John. So, yeah, guys, I'm gonna wrap it up here. Bring questions. Bring questions. It's free. Live stream's free. All right, so I'm Kino with StunnedWithKino.com. I'm about to get up out of here. I'll see you guys next week. I'll also remember. Oh, never mind. No, we're not. Never mind. But also remember, everybody give a congratulations to Joe for passing the aviation selection test battery. Number one. Number two, stay tuned because I'm going to be doing more aviation related stuff. That will probably be the bulk because that is my target, the pilots. Next Thursday, AFOQT. Friday, aviation selection test battery for the United States Navy. So that's really all I have, ladies and gentlemen. I'm Kino with STEMWithKino.com. I'll see y'all later. Peace. Oh.